Welcome to Spotlight New England. I'm one of your hosts, Audrey McClelland.
And I'm Ashley Erling. Nice to see you
So
today
good to see
this
you.
beautiful, rainy.
Just going to see how you were going to describe today.
Yeah, terrible.
Horrible.
You know our friend Ian Brownhill.
Yes.
Who obviously has very funny TikToks and Instagrams and all of that. He put up a great one today,
I
which
have to
this
see
is
it. I
right.
haven't
This
seen
is
it
right
yet.
in his wheelhouse. I shared it, but you know, it's that like it's kind of like the one that made him, went
his
viral
big-
to
yes,
begin with, and he
yes.
was just like the New England weather. It was great. It was perfect.
Oh, I
So
have to check it out.
That is definitely the feel today.
It's funny because I had emailed somebody this morning really quickly about just something work related. And the first thing she said was, "Why I'm wearing my winter coat to work today."
Literally.
And it's, she's like, it's literally now, theoretically, you'd call this kind of like the end of May.
Yeah.
There's no reason why you're wearing your like puffer coat
It's
to
terrible.
work.
It's absolutely. There's no, you can't even spin it. There's no spin.
No, there's no spin.
It's terrible.
There's no spin.
Even though this is Memorial Day weekend coming up, which we'll be talking about a little bit later in the show, but part of this weekend is also there's a big day coming up.
It's a really big day on Sunday.
National Wine Day.
It's a good day.
National Wine Day.
It's a
We've
good
had it
day.
marked
It's a
on our
good day. We
calendar
did
for
have it
like
marked on our
probably
calendar.
months, maybe months. So we're celebrating today because why not?
Because why not celebrate wine?
Now, I'm going to ask this question, but I'm really asking it for everyone because I already know the answer. What kind of wine do you like?
Well, you know what I order every single time we go out.
Yeah.
What do I get?
Well, you get white wine.
Yes,
You're a white wine.
I'm just like a white wine girl.
Yeah.
I've tried to deviate. Like I know you get rosé.
I do,
lot, right?
I do change it up. I'm more of a red wine girl baseline most of the time.
Let me ask you a question. Are you ever worried about your teeth getting stained on the red wine?
I don't care.
Ever?
No, I don't care.
Okay. See, that's what I don't know why that's always in my head.
I brush my teeth. I use
And
whitening
you
toothpaste.
do have
like
white teeth. You do have
and they're
white
normal.
teeth.
I
She
wouldn't say
does.
they're overly
That was not a
whatever,
shot.
but like no, I like
You're not
red
worried
wine.
about
I
that.
like coffee. You drink coffee all the time.
I
Don't
do
worry
drink
about
coffee, and I
that.
drink it black too, so
Yeah.
it really is going like straight to my teeth.
But have you seen this trend? So this is my actual hand, probably last summer or the summer before.
It's a beautiful hand.
Thank you. My nails were done. I was proud. But this is rosé, but it has jalapenos in it. And so I don't know if you've seen this trend. Now they're doing it with, as the kids say, Sauvy B.
Sauvy B.
Sauvignon Blanc. And you slice up a jalapeno
Yes.
and they're freezing it, which actually is way smarter.
Actually, that is a smart idea.
And dropping it in their Sauvignon Blanc.
Mm-hmm.
And it's supposedly the drink of the summer. And I did it with rosé last summer.
So you were
2
ahead of
summers
this
ago.
trend.
Well, it was first the trend
got it
with
from you?
rosé.
Oh,
No,
okay,
no.
okay.
This
So
was
it was
a
with
trend
rosé first.
specifically, and I liked
I
it.
was gonna say, what? So I
Yeah.
haven't tried it yet. Is it like a spicy
It's spicy.
feel?
Yeah, I don't think you'd like it.
I don't think I would either.
I think it's too like adventurous for you.
Yeah, I
Like,
kind of like my basic
Yeah.
Pinot Grigio, and I'm even like the cheapest Pinot Grigio is
Yeah.
the ones that I like the best.
Yeah.
Like you give me an expensive one, I'm like, give me my like. Matt always says your boxed wine, you're real classy.
Do you have a box of wine in your fridge?
It's the boxed wine.
Yeah.
It's barefoot
Okay.
wine.
That's what you like.
I love the boxed wine. He's like, when people come to this
Good.
house, you should hide it. He goes, oh, let me go get my boxed wine. My
And,
wife.
like glass. Like
Of course I
good,
do.
Like
It's like
good
a beautiful
glassware.
stemware.
Yeah.
Go back, keep pumping that sucker.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
that's what everyone is doing this summer. They're doing the
They're doing the
jalapenos.
jalapeno.
But what I feel like, I wouldn't exclusively do it, but if you have like a really hot day, which will never happen here for us
Please,
because
God,
it hasn't been
please.
warm.
Please God.
But if that ever happens, it's like kind of almost like a take on a margarita in a
I guess
weird
it would
way.
be a
You know what I
take
mean?
on a margarita. So tell me this: so you didn't have yours frozen.
No.
So what do you think there would be like a? What do you think the difference?
I like
just
that.
Like a
I
little bit
think-
chilled, like
I
more
just
chilled
think it
in the
would
glass,
keep your
or the jalapeno intact.
It would
more?
it would keep it cold, or like your drink. Cold.
Okay, because people think I'm nuts. I put ice in my wine sometimes.
I do sometimes. I
Okay.
do sometimes in the summer.
Yes, in the summer.
If you're
just to keep
sitting
it, like, super-
outside, or sometimes I don't start with it, but then I'll throw a cube
You'll
in.
throw a cube in.
Yeah, just to
See,
like
some people think that's crazy.
enjoy that. Yeah,
Who
well,
knows?
that you do whatever you want because it's
Exactly.
National Wine Day on Sunday, and you drink it however you want.
That's right. We're gonna say cheers to that.
cheers to that.
Cheers to National Wine Day on Sunday. I love it. We also have a great show today.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited.
We have a really fun, great guest coming up. You're not going to want to miss it. She's one of the funniest ladies that we know, and you're just going to have a ball
It's actually a
watching
fact.
this
She
one.
actually is
No,
one of
she
the
is
funniest.
actually the funniest lady we know. So make sure you stick around because we will be right back. Welcome back to Spotlight New England. Our next guest, this is a fun one. She's an actress, she's a comedian, she's a mother, she's an author. She was the first female inducted into the Rhode Island Comedy Hall of Fame. She is the one and only Doreen Collins. Doreen, I feel like we need like a big clapping button. Woo!
Thank you.
Doreen, we love that you're here.
I love watching you listen to your own intro.
What was she doing?
She's
Dancing.
going like, yeah, that's me.
She's like,
No,
yes,
I
I've
was
done that. I've
actually
done that.
lies, all lies.
But you are a woman of many things.
That is a correct.
You really, really are. Take us back to really like the beginning, because I really only know you truly as, we're not joking, one of the funniest people that we know, and just as this amazing comedian that is, well, first of all, female. You're female.
Today.
The most badass female that we know. But in all honesty, Doreen, like, where did this story begin for you? I mean, did you know out of young age, middle school, high school, this is what I want to do? I want to go into like acting, comedy. You did know.
Yes. Well, it starts with make-believe at home. And I had older brothers that used to play with us. And my brother, who is my stage mother brother, he'd throw like the vacuum cleaner hose out the window and have us climb up to play a beanstalk. We knew supreme lyrics and choreography before we could, walk. So he was always pushing, and it was just natural. In school with plays and dance class, Miss Mickey Mac's Dance Studio. So the whole thing, but I remember junior high, it hit me. It was like, I want to make people laugh.
Was it a moment when, sometimes I've heard comedians say, I remember like making the class laugh, and it just like, I was like, oh, I want to do that again. Like, was there a moment for you that clicked that you were like,
this? In the hallway in between classes for no reason. It's just like, boom, hit me. And I decided I wanted to make people laugh. And but never, like, stand-up comedy was my final frontier. I had gone to
tell us about your path, because I find this so interesting.
Oh, we didn't know, like, this is amazing.
But it's just, when people end up sometimes in places like this, in the entertainment business and industry, like, how do you get there? Because I don't know that there's a roadmap.
There isn't. You have to there still isn't. I still make it up as I go along because nobody will cast me. So I make my own projects and do my own thing. And even then, it's very iffy whether I'll get the part. But just trying, not being afraid to try new things. And the biggest thing as a performer you have to kind of come to terms with is, don't be afraid to look stupid.
That's where I would definitely not do well.
Well,
like with improv or like that is terrifying.
Yep. Well, you have to be ready to. I've done improv, not well. You have moments.
Yeah.
But you do it because it is another exercise and a muscle you have to train. But just don't be afraid to try anything.
Yeah.
And look stupid. And I have. My
She's
peers,
like, I have.
and still do, you know? And as a comedian, you try stuff, and sometimes it lands, sometimes it doesn't.
How far in advance do you actually prep your stuff? I mean, are you always writing down, or are you can you go off the cuff? Like if someone asked you to get up and do a set?
Well, I mean, if I had to,
you could.
I've been told I am funniest when I don't rehearse. Rehearsal is not my friend.
I can understand that, though, because then it might not feel as genuine when you're delivering it in the moment.
Well, even you guys, when I do my stuff for Senior Moment, when I have to read, it's like when you read, it's not really you. But when I just start talking, it's like, and sometimes it just doesn't come off as genuine. I guess. So I do crowd work when I do, stand up. I do talk to the audience, and sometimes it's gold. Other times it's rusty and tarnished and inappropriate, and all that stuff. But I mean, so I started out as a musical comedy person, and I didn't do stand up because I didn't write. I didn't think I could write.
Yeah.
And then I won a comedy contest. And I was a little tipsy because I was actually driving someone else to these contests. And so, you have the obligatory beer. each location. So we walk into the last bar, and this guy is on stage telling old jokes badly.
Yeah.
So I was like, I can do that. So I entered, and I told Sophie Tucker jokes, which is also how I passed Shakespeare class at NYU. So I told Sophie Tucker jokes, and I won the contest.
It's unbelievable.
So I call my partner, Charlie Hall, on the way home. Charlie, I just won a comedy contest. And he's like, what do you mean? You don't do comedy. You don't do stand-up. What jokes did you tell? I told Sophie Tucker. No, you got it right. So I'm like, oh my God. So I had to start writing for the finals.
Right.
Which I did not.
So you were forced into it.
I was forced
into it.
So, and the rest is, fast forward. I'm the first female inducted into
It's unbelievable.
I want to talk about that because you're the first. Are you still the only as well?
No.
Okay,
Poppy
now
Champlin,
there is. Okay.
Poppy Champlin is in, and the late Ruth Buzzy was the second. She didn't show up for her ceremony.
But it's a big deal, we love you so much, and we love seeing you here in Rhode Island, and we love now that you're known, you're well known, the first one to be in the Comedy Hall of Fame, the first female.
Yes.
But women in comedy in general is still,
it's
still something that's difficult.
It's tough. Well, depending on who you ask, people will say, well, women aren't as funny as men. And I'm like, okay, say that to Joan Rivers, Lucille Ball, Carol Burnett, we can just keep naming them. There are just, I think, more men doing it, so it's kind of a numbers game, and it is a tough business, but I think women in almost any business have to try a little harder than men. Yeah. So there is that, but, Joe Hebert, who created the Rhode Island Comedy Hall of Fame, said, it's a good old boys network. It's you and the boys. I'm like, yeah, and what else is new? You know? So it was. You got to be able to take a punch. Yeah. But I've always been able to take a punch.
Yeah, you seem like that.
I was just gonna say, it seems like you are how you are.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I laugh when they make fun of me. I'm not. I remember being brought to a casting director by a manager who was trying to date my brother's friend, so she was nice to me. So she brought me to her partner, and she's like, "Isn't she adorable?" And he's like, "Her eyes are lopsided. Her nose is too big." My old nose. Her nose is too big. And he just ripped me right in front of my face, ripped me to shreds. And I'm like, I can't say what I said. Well, could you come here?
It includes a word that we won't say here at this time.
It includes many of those. And I was like, I don't.
Wow.
Or my other, my boyfriend from hair school, who surprisingly turned out to be gay. He and I were a couple for a minute, and he brought me to his manager, and she said, "Where's the makeup? Who do you think you are, Meryl Streep? Put on mascara, for God's sakes." And I'm like,
wow.
Because I never thought of myself. I was never one of those pretty girls,
Which is funny because
is crazy
you're into
for her to
fashion, and I always love what you're wearing.
I've always been into fashion, but I never.
So what did you think? They thought you had to be pretty and funny. That was the only combination that it could be.
Well,
that's what these people were saying to you.
Well, no, because it was just
this. You're gorgeous.
Thank you, but
she's like, no.
No, I just never thought of myself as a pretty girl. I wanted to be the funny girl because
I see what you're saying.
Pretty doesn't last.
Right.
Yeah.
And I wasn't. And don't forget, this is way back when, where to be on TV, you had to be perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's why I chose stage, because I'm very Monet. So I never aspired to be the pretty girl. I wanted to be the talented girl, the funny girl. So but I've always been into fashion, but it's always been.
Yeah,
you always look so
she's always
good.
on the cutting edge.
Seeing what you're wearing.
She had her barrel jeans on one day here.
Well, this is my Audrey McClellan look.
Yes.
We actually are twinning today.
Down.
Look at this.
Button down, the blazer.
We are totally twinning today. But I have to tell you this, because this is a pretty cool thing. She kind of breezed over this a little bit. She went to NYU.
Yes.
Like that is like some. I would be like I would be shouting that from rooftops. I'd be wearing the sweatshirt. Like what was that? What was that like for you? I mean, my parents said, a tough school.
Well, my parents said you're not moving to New York unless you're in school. Okay, so I applied to NYU and I showed up at the audition because you have to audition to get in.
That's
I did Googie Gomez from the Ritz.
Yeah.
So she's this, fiery Puerto Rican. And first I show up and the woman taking my paperwork said, "What are you doing here?" I'm like, "What do you mean, what am I doing here? I have an appointment. I have an audition." She said, "Your grades are like..." Because I flunked out of 10th grade, but I didn't know they count 10th grade. So they look at, So senior year, I had it together, but it's like, no, too late. So she was like, "Well, you came all the way down. We'll see you." So I was like, "Okay, thank you." So I go in and I do Googie Gomez in my, Spanglish accent. And the guy watching the audition, and then I forgot. I went blank halfway through, and I thought, "Shit, I don't remember that." So I stayed in character, and I just blew it up. And he goes, "I love that movie. I love that character. I'm going to get you in."
Wow! Oh my God! I just got goosebumps.
And he got it. Yeah, he got me in, and I got to study under Stella Adler, who is a big deal, or was a big deal. But it was also the height of disco, so I didn't always make it to
New York
English
too,
class.
huh?
I was a mobile DJ.
That's right.
Yes,
that is amazing.
I love that.
With the milk crates and the Disco Van 2000.
Yes. Oh, that is amazing.
Oh my gosh, I really want to see pictures of that.
I don't think, thankfully, there are.
I would love to see.
Well, my first soap opera, remember that woman that dragged me in? She wanted to date my friend.
Yeah.
She calls me up one day and she goes, "You're a dancer, right?" And I said, "I dance." "You're a dancer, right?" I'm like, "I dance. I'm not a dance.
Yeah.
I sing. I'm not a say. I dance." Show up at this studio this time, and it was to be on the edge of night.
Oh my gosh.
So I walk in, and they said, "Oh, she looks like Lori Loughlin. So you're going to play," because Lori Loughlin was going to have this dream. And I was going to be her.
You're going to be her in the dream.
The Broadway star. Wow. So it's me and two dancers.
Oh my gosh.
2 6-foot dancers. So they're like, "Okay, 5, 6, 7, 8, leg up, this, boom, 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 boom." And I'm like, what came after 5? So I fumbled through. So they're like, "Okay, so we'll shoot from way far away."
Oh my gosh.
So it was horrible. And the shot ends between my thighs.
Oh my gosh.
I wish I had it on. Now I wish I had
right,
it.
Right. Enough time has passed.
That'd be liquid gold.
It was so. She was really sweet.
Oh, was she?
She was so sweet. Yeah, I could have played her in jail better, probably. But
where can people see you? Tell us about your shows.
Oh, agingdisgracefully.net it has the whole schedule, or thedoreencollins.com, but I don't update it as much as I should. But yeah, agingdisgracefully.net is the show Charlie and I do all the time, and it's about getting older, and we're not done.
Yeah.
We do matinees and early shows because
the best thing I ever heard. The best thing I ever heard.
Thank you. And I'm going to take credit for that.
Good.
Here in Rhode
It is
Island,
so smart.
because even Charlie's like, 12 o'clock. And I'm like, the first show, Charlie, look at the audience. He goes, "Yeah, they're not really into us." I said, "They're sleeping.
They're sleeping.
They've just eaten a big meal.
That's it.
They're
the night is
tired.
over.
Yes.
God forbid you had a cocktail as well.
They want to go
It's
home.
over.
Yes.
I want to go home. So now we do it where we're doing brunches and buffet.
Oh, I love it.
And people are following, starting with Jamie Lee Curtis. Copycat. No.
But it is now.
But it is,
thing.
right.
We talked about it on one of our shows.
Yes.
It's a trend now that people are doing the early bird club, and I'm like,
Yes.
It's
so
amazing.
smart.
Yep.
And then you have the ladies' room.
Yes, that's once a year. And because that's all female comedians, sponsored by female-owned businesses, with a portion of each ticket price going to a female-based charity.
I love that.
But I have to get the sponsors. I get the girls. I write the show, which I should stop doing. I should just.
I mean, you really are. You're a force. She does it all behind these shows.
Yeah, but I'm old and tired. So, and that's still at night. I gotta.
It's still at
that's
night.
because of the drag queens. They don't. They don't rise until sundown on the vampires. But they're old now, too, so maybe I can talk about it.
Everybody loves a matinee.
Everyone loves a good matinee.
Yes.
It's true. But the
Yes.
ladies' room are great shows to get to.
That's in March.
Okay.
That's because that's Women's Month.
Yep. And people can see you on the road show.
That's right.
That's right. That's right.
When we
Senior
feel like
moments.
when it so happens, when the stars align.
Yes, when the stars. Yeah, when my poor little doggy isn't ill.
I know.
I was to tell the story though when I called and I said I couldn't make it because I was explaining to Megan. I said, "Poor Al, I was up all night. He had explosive diarrhea, so I'm out in the front lawn and he's just going all over the place." And she goes, "Yeah, my father had stomach issues." I said, "No, wait, wait. Al isn't my husband. Al is my dog."
Al's
And
out
I'm
front. Al's out front.
Frank, get off the front lawn. Stop.
Well, we're glad that issue's
God.
been resolved for them both.
Oh my God.
Thank you so much
No,
for
thank
joining
you.
us.
Doreen, we
love
love
having
you.
Thank you.
You're the best. You're so funny.
Such a joy.
I'm always in the parking lot waiting for
I
the
know.
door to
Thank
open.
God for
So-
that.
Thank God
Because
she
you
lives
always
here.
answer my call.
Thank God she lives here. Oh,
No,
thank you,
you
Doreen.
both, and good luck with this.
Thank
It's a lot
you.
of work,
Thank
and to your girl bosses.
Yes.
behind
Girl
us,
bosses, this is a
girl
girl boss show.
Girl
producers.
gang.
Love it. Estrogen power, ladies.
I love
it.
it.
We
I
love
love
it.
it. So great. And make sure you stay tuned because we're going to be talking about some things that you can do with your family to really honor Memorial Day weekend, which is coming up. So stick around. We will be right back. Welcome back to Spotlight New England. I'm one of your hosts, Audrey, and we're back with the one and only Ashley.
And this weekend, of course, people will be taking part in Memorial Day, which, is important. And I always like to say, because I've been working in news a long time, while we do get a nice long weekend,
Yes.
it is,
There's a reason.
yes, to be honored, for people who have lost their lives.
Absolutely.
And I just always like to throw that out there as a reminder, because as
No,
they say,
it's It's important.
you can enjoy your picnics and your barbecues, but just remember why.
Right, exactly, which is such an important thing to do. And we're talking about there's so many things that are going to be going on around the state, and we've been doing a tradition now, goodness, since 9/11. So my husband's best friend, after he actually graduated from Brown, he was on Wall Street, and he just had this higher calling to join the Marines at 31. And his parents were Greek immigrants, and he just felt like he wanted to give something back. And unfortunately, he lost his life when he went over there within the first 3 months. So my husband and I, he's like my husband's brother. So my husband and a bunch of his buddies started this memorial every year on Memorial Day weekend back at Brown, where some of the, I hate to say it, but there were 8 people that lost their lives at 9/11. So because he decided to join the Marines because of 9/11, they started this memorial really truly to honor the fallen, those that maybe had gone to fight, but also bring in some of the people that unfortunately lost their lives at 9/11. But it's a tradition that we've done every Memorial Day. It started when the kids were, my goodness, so it started literally that many years ago, and we still go every single year. I mean, my husband hasn't missed one year, and it's just something that we do every Memorial Day weekend to honor those who lost their lives.
And then, of course, Boots on the Ground, which happens in Newport now. They've been having it for Adams for quite a few years now. That's something that's always such a great thing for people to go to if they're looking for something to go to. It's there all weekend, this weekend starting Friday through Monday, and it's free and open to the public, and it really is poignant and powerful and a great way to, spend a little time on Memorial Day weekend in between all your festivities.
Absolutely. So. Lots of parades going on. So make sure, like Ashley said, you take a moment this weekend to just remember why we are taking the long weekend.
And thank you so much for taking some time today to join us on Spotlight New England, and we will see you next